Welcome to the Cloud Pod, where the forecast is always cloudy. We talk weekly about all things AWS, Google, and Azure. We are your hosts,
Justin,
Jonathan,
and Peter.
Episode 59, recorded on February 12th, 2020. The Cloud Pod goes to Mars. Hey, good evening, Jonathan. How's it going?
It's great. I've had a really good fun week this week.
And coming fresh out of quarantine, Peter has joined us back from his trips to Asia. Hey, Peter.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Live.
Yes, we can.
From the quarantine cell.
How's it going?
It's been going well. We missed you last few weeks, but I know you've been having much more fun enjoying some Japanese whiskey. How was the trip in general?
I had a ball. I was in Okinawa, which was awesome, and then spent a ton of time in Seoul, which was my first time there, and it was incredible. And I got to do tons of stuff there. It was super fun.
Very nice. Hopefully, you were not too bothered by coronavirus running around.
It was crazy. We were staying in a hotel where every time you came in the building, every entrance to the building was guarded by someone with a thermometer, and they would laser check your temperature before you're allowed in the hotel.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was funny because like every single person on the street except for me is wearing a mask, and they had like one confirmed case in the whole country.
Everyone remembers SARS, so everyone's very concerned, I think, over there. I've seen it even on airplanes here in the States, people wearing masks and being very concerned. So good to be diligent, I guess. But hopefully we get control of this here pretty soon before it gets too bad.
Yeah, definitely affecting many people.
Well, we are glad to have you back. We did have Ian and Ryan join us while you were gone, and it was a good time. But we always enjoy you here on the show.
So. Awesome. Happy to be back.
All right, well, let's jump into the news. Amazon Web Services, of course, has announced registration for Amazon Remars. Amazon Remars this year will be in Las Vegas at the lovely Aria Casino, June 16th through 19th in Las Vegas, with standard pricing starting at $19.99. If you are a NASA astronaut or former astronaut of any country, not just NASA, you can go for free. So just keep that in mind. If you're out there listening and you rent a space, you can go for free. New for this year at Amazon Remars, the Developer Day is now available for engineers and developers to engage with the Amazon product teams. And there are over 100 main event sessions and activities featuring visionaries working on the future, organizations applying these technologies today, and even taking a peek behind the curtain of Amazon's own implementations. Check out Machine Learning, RoboMaker, Alexa Skills, and Alexa for Device Makers, all at Remars. And if you're a student or an academic, there's also some special discount pricing for you if you follow the link in the show notes to this article.
Oh, there you go. Are either of you going?
That's to be decided.
Oh, nice. Still up in the air.
I'm looking for a promotion to a VP or above so I can get a ticket. So it's in Justin's court right now.
Justin, go ahead and approve the promotion to CEO.
That's right.
Jonathan.
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, technically, you are the VP of technology here at the Cloud Pod.
Yeah.
So I think it's a fair ask of them to give you a free ticket to go to it.
Yeah, we could try for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I should reach out to our media contacts, see if we can get to either a media pass or.
But I heard that if you had a media pass, nobody would talk to you.
That is true. They don't want to talk to you.
Even better.
Maybe. So I just got one question about Remars. Is this like reInvent's just full of like the lowlifes now, and they had to have a whole new conference just for the elite? Because it kind of seems like, with the price point, and it's still for developers. So like, why the difference now?
I think it's trying to be specialized and heavily focused at robotics, and machine learning for this type of technology. Self-driving cars, and I think they felt that was a big enough of a market that they wanted to address it separately. We talked about at CES, all of the Amazon automotive stuff. This is a great place for them to showcase some of that technology that doesn't maybe fit into reInvent, I think. But it is a good question. But again, this is the Amazon Remars. This is Jeff Bezos's baby versus AWS reInvent, which is AWS. So
that's a good point.
So I think that's also part of it as well, is that the naming kind of indicates the focus and where it's at.
I would be I'd certainly look forward to going if I had the opportunity.
Yeah, I don't think I want to go. I'm gonna go to Reinforce, pretty sure, and then I'm skipping reInvent, sending you guys instead. But we should definitely try to get someone out to Remars.
I don't know, like if you get a chance to be around robots or around information security people, I'm going to pick the robots.
I mean, the things I like to do for fun, things you like to do for fun, they're different, Jonathan. It's okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, over on the AWS open source blog, which we don't typically talk about a lot there, because it's typically more blog post server like this one, they posted this neat serverless code to let you sync route target updates across the route table. This is a Lambda function triggered by an API gateway REST call for either an event or a polling client, which they provide you an example code of. And the Lambda function itself retrieves the main default route table for the VPC via the identifier supplied, and if valid, then selects the route via the IPv CIDR block included in the request body. This match route is validated to ensure that it is an inactive state in the main route table and then passes it over. So you can get a lot of automation in your process for syncing routes across multiple VPCs. I think it's kind of neat. What do you think, Jonathan?
Well, it is kind of neat in itself. I mean, I love serverless as a technology, and this is a really good use case for people who maybe have only a few VPCs or something. But I think Rube Goldberg would be excited to see this kind of solution when you have things like Transit Gateway, which would solve this for you anyway. I mean, why orchestrate route changes across hundreds of VPCs when you can do it centrally with a Transit Gateway solution?
Good point.
Yeah. Yeah, we love building stuff like this when there's some crazy requirement why we have to do it, but then you think, there better be a crazy requirement why you had to do it.
Yeah. And I mean, the 15 seconds SLA for the route changes things, that's all really cool. I really like what they've done here. In fact, I think that the pattern in general is very good for orchestrating changes. But I think networking has kind of already been solved now, so maybe we can reuse the same pattern for other things.
Yeah, I think it's good for a pattern that you definitely want to take a look at, but it is definitely nice to have these really practical examples for these solutions, even though they're not always the right solution for everybody. And that's why I do really enjoy the open source blog for these type of solutions, but they're typically not newsworthy. But this one is kind of cool because if this is a problem you're having, this is actually kind of a neat solution for that. But I agree, it is a little Rube Goldberg. You could do something a little different.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, Amazon CodeDeploy is now supporting linear and canary deployments for Amazon ECS. This is via the CodeDeploy pipeline. Of course, Code Pipeline supports Blue and Green use cases to safely test new versions. This leverages the ALB weighted target groups, and you can use CloudWatch alarms, and if an issue is detected, CodeDeploy will automatically reverse the traffic routing to your original version and provision those new containers. There are some predefined linear and canary deployment configurations available from including 10% every 5 minutes, 10% every 15, or 10 every 1 or 3 minutes for a linear deployment. The blog post will walk you through setting up the entire process, which is really great if you want a step-by-step guide. And this is a pretty nice feature available to you now if you're doing a lot of work with ECS, which I happen to be.
So I'm going to ask you a very important question to me. Have you ever heard the term linear deployments before?
No.
Okay, so
I had not.
that's great. I thought it was just me. I thought it was like missing something after like 25 years in the industry. Like, how did this term get past me? So I Googled linear deployments. The first hit that comes up in Google is this blog post for CodeDeploy.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Right. So, I mean, I like that you can now automate the incremental transition of traffic from blue to green, basically, as long as everything's going well. That's really cool that you can also orchestrate that now. But I think they kind of should have qualified it with, hey, we just invented this new deployment technique.
Well, but I mean, is linear deployments really just rolling deployments?
No. Literally, you start off at 10% going to the green side, and then after 10 minutes you go to 20%, and then 30%, 40%, and you can pre-stage the change of like ratios of traffic between the two environments.
Gotcha. So versus rolling, where it's per server instead of per percent of traffic.
Well, I guess you could always control. Like on a load balancer, or even Route 53, like a weighted target group or something. But there's never been a way, as far as I know, that you could pre-stage the timeline of transition from one to the other and gently phase in a new version. So it's kind of cool.
We just went through an issue with a customer who was very disappointed that CodeDeploy only supported blue-green. So
What, they want red?
Gosh.
Purple?
No, they wanted canary. They wanted canary on ECS.
Oh, I see.
And it wasn't available yet.
Okay.
So
Well,
the hard
their
news
problem has
is
been now been
coming.
solved.
Well, yeah, after the engineering has been done to
Yeah.
circumvent the problem.
Well, that's the beauty of building on anyone else's platform. You always have a risk of getting Sherlocked. There you go.
Yeah.
So, oh well, that's a bummer. You build that beautiful code, but now you can replace it with something
Poo-poo.
that you don't have to
Throw it away.
maintain.
On the bright side, you're ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah.
What we do. Yeah.
Maybe on one side of it, you get to charge them twice. You charge them for the complicated way, and then you get to charge them to replace it with a new tool.
Yeah, but that breaks my heart though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a bummer. Consulting. It's fun
Yeah.
times. Amazon QuickSight has launched enhancements to narrative editor and anomaly detection. This now allows you to use a full screen narrative editor with a preview mode. And so I had seen this actually in a report that Ryan had built for me on server growth at my day job. And it was interesting because I didn't actually know how he did it. I thought it was just like a manual text field where he had a dynamic field that would just change it. But apparently it's using this narrative features. And so then I asked him if this was cool. And he said, oh, yeah, that editing those narratives is garbage. And so this is a much better improvement. So
Well, good.
he apparently says this is a very welcome change to QuickSight. And so if you are trying to use this in any way, this is now available to you. It also supports static and dynamic URLs within the narrative, allowing you to create URLs based on custom computed functions. And now you also can leverage machine learning to allow you to define thresholds for anomalies that you can then tie into that narrative as well. So overall, if you are trying to use QuickSight for something more elegant, this is pretty nice.
QuickSight's coming around.
I mean, I don't think it's ready to replace Tableau in most companies yet, but maybe someday. Maybe someday.
It sneaks up on you, right? It sneaks up on you. All of a sudden, everyone's like, why are we paying all this money for this third-party product when
we could pay Amazon instead, yeah.
pay Amazon like a tenth the cost? Yeah.
Although if you use that new VPN client they have, I did see that it's like 50 cents per user per hour for that. So I don't know if that's cheaper than just running your own open VPN server.
Not yet. Exactly. Not yet.
Well, the well-architected tool has now caught up to the legacy version of the well-architected framework. If you were using the old method where Amazon would come in and do your well-architected review, or you're having your partner come in and do it, they could get a lens to basically change the questions to be more specific to serverless or HPC compute workloads or IoT. So that is now coming to the well-architected tool, so you can now add that same lens right to your self-assessment, or if you're using a partner that your partner is using to do it. Of course, the well-architected review typically consists of operational excellence, security, reliability, performance efficiency, and cost optimization. And if you think about that in a serverless world, cost is maybe less of a problem in many ways. But now this is coming here with the first one being the serverless, and the other two will be coming shortly, apparently, according to this blog post.
That's awesome. Yeah. We're a well-architected practitioner, and I enjoy using this tool in general so much more than the old spreadsheets we used to have to use. And I should mention that Foghorn does these well-architected reviews for qualifying companies at no cost. So if people are interested in finding out if they qualify, I'd be happy to talk to them. So send us an email.
Hey everyone, Jonathan here. I just wanted to take a minute to thank the cloud consulting gurus at Foghorn for helping make the Cloud Pod possible. These folks truly get it. Cloud consulting experts since 2008, they are premier tier partners with AWS, Google Cloud Platform Silver, and Microsoft Azure partners. From multi-cloud to containers to moving full production workloads to the cloud under the tightest compliance, Foghorn's team of full-stack cloud engineers have been there, done that, gotten the t-shirt, and are ready to share their experience with you. If you're in the market for some talent to supplement your team, visit www.fogops.io/thecloudpod. www.fogops.io/thecloudpod. Foghorn, the promise of cloud delivered.
I also heard if we use you to do the walkthrough review and you find problems, they'll also throw in a credit to you to help us fix them. Not only do you get it for free, but you also get some of the resolution for free too.
Exactly. Yeah. So they counter the cost you would pay us to do the remediation by giving you AWS credits for your account to match. It's awesome. It's been super valuable for our customers who were, on the fence about it. We brought it up to them. They didn't have a dying need for it, and then found some really cool low-hanging fruit that they can take care of really easily. We took care of it, and then it's effectively free. So it was super fun.
So can you tell me some of the things you may have found and help resolve? Because I've been through the well architected review with a solutions architect from Amazon before, and I kind of found it to be kind of very basic. I mean, I using auto scaling groups, I using CloudWatch for logging, I using this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what can you bring that's above the most simple common practices?
So I guess I'll just name one thing that I've noticed across a few customers, and that would be credentials management, where they don't even realize how they're handling credentials until you start asking, and you have the right people in the room to answer. And your company is a pretty sophisticated company, but a lot of people are learning this stuff on the fly, where they're training their individual resources. They're not bringing in experts to build a practice. And people just don't know that they're not supposed to, follow the examples online where you hard code your credentials into your code, or, they're in a plain text file in their box, and other situations like that. So credentials management has been one that's surfaced many times, even if people are doing it uh, in a secure method. It might be a really high maintenance method where we can lower that maintenance level by getting rid of the complicated method they're using to secure credentials and just replacing it with instance profiles, things like that. You find and can replace pretty easily and eliminate a lot of ongoing management cost, or greatly secure their environment.
On credentials, I've been playing around with SSM a little bit recently, and I kind of tweeted about it, about how wonderful it was and how everything else was dead to me. And I really kind of feel that way because I realized that you can give SSM a role which gives it permission to get secrets from a secret manager, but you don't have to give the instance profile the permissions to get the same secrets. So SSM can run an automation document, get the secrets, do the configuration, and everything else. Then it can completely go away. Like it's you're never going to call it again because it was in user data. And now if anyone breaks into the instance, they have no access to those secrets anymore in plain text. It's really, really cool.
Yeah,
You'll have to tell us more about your SSM adventures here in a future show on your cool
Yeah.
tool segment.
I would love to. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, it's cool tool worthy for sure.
Yeah, definitely. We're actually going to do an immersion day on it pretty soon. I'm super excited about. Multi-region asynchronous object replication solution is now available to you. This is a quick start solution that allows you to set up replication of an S3 put event in one region, change it in a different region. So, for example, create the object in Oregon. In Singapore region, you can rename it, and then you can delete them in Dublin region, and all those changes are replicated to all of the regions around the world. The solution is designed for workloads that can tolerate loss events and variations in replication speeds. And again, this is the second pattern we have today that I think was kind of interesting that some customers try to figure out how to do. And this is a nice solution for that as well. I think, Jonathan, you might disagree.
I mean, when you publish a blog post and you preface the whole thing with, "This is really for people who don't care about resilience of data and data loss and everything else," then I kind of I kind of wonder why it's on the corporate blog, because people generally care about those things. I mean, I guess what they've turned on is the ability to replicate things which weren't replicated before. So before, if an object was placed into a bucket because of a replication event, it wouldn't cascade to other regions. And now you can cascade those changes to other regions. But it bothers me that it's a solution which has no integrity. There's no file locking, there's no object locking. So it's really luck of the draw. So while it may be useful for some things, I wouldn't want to be involved in a project where people didn't care about the resiliency of their data.
Yeah, I saw it as a sort of a 95% complete solution for companies who build an app that isn't multi-region aware, and so, but they want to go from single region to multi-region, and if they can get away with, some sort of, risk of data loss there. I mean, my bet is you're not going to see much, if any, data loss ever with this solution, and that's their legal language on the bottom. But you can take this app that is not smart enough to have to deal on its own with handling, data in multiple regions. It just knows how to write to a single bucket in its region and roll that out to a bunch of regions without any change to your application code.
But I think what Amazon really need is a global bucket option, where just like you have multiple copies in a region in multiple AZs for S3, they should offer a global bucket option where it replicates those things natively to another region without you. I mean, I know they have the sync option, but that's kind of like asynchronous. It may take 10 minutes or 15 minutes to get your objects there, but I think they need to have a global bucket option.
Yeah,
and this is kind of, I guess this is like a semi-implemented solution of that, but I guess it still doesn't make me feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's like the prequel to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see this actually become a solution that Amazon takes care of and manages for me, and I don't have to worry about it, versus deploying this Lambda function I have to keep updated.
Yeah. It's like remember the highly available scripts to keep to run to NAT gateway instances, not instances.
Yeah, the heartbeat thing.
Yeah, that thing actually caused more downtime
Yep.
for our customers than it saved. But like they created that, and that was like the prequel to NAT gateway.
Oh yeah, I remember when.
Yeah.
Moving on to our good friends up at Azure. Mark Russinovich, the CTO of Microsoft Azure, is back with another blog post, this time on safe deployment practices in Azure. Of course, the primary cause of service reliability issues that are seen on Azure, other than small but common hardware failures, is change. And so this walks through with a guest writer, Cristina Del Amo Casado, has basically walked you through the entire way that their deployments are practiced, how they use canary regions, early access regions, etc., to make sure that these changes go in without a hitch, which is really quite interesting, especially if this is a cloud that you're building on as your primary cloud. You should really know how these things are architected, and that will help influence your architecture as well. Just like we know in the case of AWS, that they typically don't allow services to talk cross-regionally. They don't want a regional dependence. And so this is an area where Azure has a slightly different model, and so you should be aware of those things when you're architecting your application. So we won't talk about the whole article because it's quite lengthy. It's very interesting, and I read through it last night and was impressed with the level of detail they have here. And definitely, if you're using Azure, I recommend going to this link and reading through this.
I'm kind of hoping this is like just the beginning of Azure sharing their knowledge and their best practices, just like Amazon did at reInvent with Werner, announcing their portal where they're publishing their white papers on how to do things at scale. I kind of hope that Microsoft continue with publishing their best practices, and maybe Google do the same thing.
Yeah, so this CTO of Microsoft Azure, Mark, this is his blog series he's been doing for a while. This is where the tardigrade came from last year, and some of the other things they've been talking about. So this is just continuation of that series. But yeah, this is the third or fourth article that they blogged about a pretty key technical architecture decision. And so I do think this is going to be a continuing series that you'll see come out, and we'll keep you updated when they come out because they are really good.
Yeah, I mean, we forget, we do this obviously every day of our lives, but we forget how monumental a shift in IT infrastructure this whole cloud model is, and the more education we can all get, the better.
It's hard to keep up, which is why I hope you're listening to the show to help you keep up with all this. But yeah, I learn something new almost every day in AWS and GCP and Azure. So definitely keep on top of it if you can. Azure apparently has taken a play out of the Google handbook and has decided to kill something here. They're killing the App Center auth and data preview services for mobile apps. This apparently is part of their App Center mobile backend as a service. This was a service they built to help you do authentication and handle access authorization rights inside of a mobile application. They apparently received feedback during the preview that the better long-term path is for developers to use the native Azure services, namely Azure AD for business to consumer, Azure Cosmos DB, and Azure Notification Hubs. And so they are retiring this on May 3rd, 2020. So if you are using this, you need to start coding right away. If you're using these SDKs, you'll be able to migrate before the RESTful APIs are shut down on the 3rd. And they do have a migration experience on the App Center portal to help identify what you need to do if you're not sure. So if you're using mobile apps on top of Azure and you're using this feature, go to check this out ASAP.
Does anybody still have a Windows phone?
Windows Phone, too late, but not bad. It really wasn't a bad operating system, just way too late to compete with iOS and Android.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, they messed up, all those Windows mobile OSs for so long.
I think the sooner Microsoft kills their embedded stuff, the better. I bet my Kia, on a cold morning, and I'm talking California cold morning, so this is barely freezing. On a cold morning, I get Korean error messages popping up on the screen. I have to reboot the whole thing.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I think maybe they exit from the mobile / IoT space, the better. Most large organizations run 6 or even more monitoring tools. Each of them uses a mixture of data collection techniques from technology providers, open source communities, or custom integrations, and maintaining dozens of integrations across these tools can be a significant investment. Blue Medora introduces BindPlane, not another monitoring platform, but the industry's first monitoring integration as a service. BindPlane can gather data from over 150 technology data sources spanning your entire organization. Remove or reduce your reliance on expensive monitoring and SIM solutions by sending log data to Google Stackdriver, New Relic, or Azure Monitor. Check out the extensive list of integrations, all provided at no additional cost. Learn more and sign up for a free trial by visiting bluemedora.com/cloudpod. The link's available in our show notes, and as a bonus for CloudPod listeners, Blue Medora are offering Google Compute Platform credits to help get you started. Buy and Plain. Seamlessly stream hybrid cloud and on-premise metric and log data.
Maybe that's a feature. It's like, it's that cold, you must not be in San Francisco, you're in Korea.
Maybe it's just telling you in Korean that the roads are frozen.
Yeah.
And you're just like, no, what is going on? And you just recycle it. So it's a bad translation in the language. All right. Google has released several interesting things this week. The first one being the Cloud Data Fusion feature. This is Google's fully managed data integration services for quickly building and managing data pipelines. This is based on the open source project CDAP. This open source project lets you build portable data pipelines. A self-run CDAP server might satisfy your needs to run a few simple data pipelines, but when it comes to securing a large number of these pipelines, you often need to put a lot of effort into logging and monitoring the pipelines. To make that a little easier, the Cloud Data Fusion product takes care of all the heavy lifting for you, including cloud-native security controls with Cloud IAM, full observability with Stackdriver logging and monitoring, and reduced exposure to the public internet with private networking.
That's an interesting pattern. I mean, you can see Amazon going the same way. You can see Google going the same way with the private networking thing and not traversing the public internet. But I wonder if that's a little bit of theatre, or whether it benefits them in some way because it doesn't touch their internet infrastructure more than anything else, because everything's encrypted. Whether it's public internet or not, surely your data's safe, right?
Yeah, I mean, from an Amazon perspective, the biggest difference is you don't have to worry about having egress available at all.
Yeah, and the cost of egress for sure. There's definitely a performance increase if you don't go through the NATs out to the public IP space. But
yeah, and if you just don't want to route like from a isolated subnet out to the internet at all, you just want no NAT.
Yeah,
and you still want access to the Amazon services, you can get them.
Yeah,
I think it has to do with latency too. If it can getting the NAT out of the process, getting the internet gateway out of the process, and just being able to connect it directly with something a little bit more robust in their network, that might be a much faster, less latent experience. Well, the next one is if you are building those data pipelines, it's important to consider the business needs now and in the future. And so they have provided the Cloud Composer, which is a Google service built on top of Apache Airflow. This is a fully managed workflow orchestration service that lets you author, schedule, and monitor pipelines that span across clouds and on-premise data centers built on Apache Airflow and using the Python programming language. The rest of the article goes through how to scale your systems for optimal performance using Airflow, and Google provides you a handy sizing calculator to help you get this right the first time.
Is that like cron?
Sort of.
That's pretty much cron, right?
I mean, a more complicated cron that runs a data pipeline that transforms your data. Sure, I guess so. Sure,
it's like cron.
I'm fine with that.
I think Airflow was did it come from Uber, or I think it was created by Uber and Apache took it over as a workflow automation solution. It's pretty cool.
It is pretty neat. I had checked it out a while back and was always impressed with what it could do from an orchestration perspective. All right, moving on to our next story. Google Kubernetes has new friends in that Windows server. Windows has gone full Kubernetes on GKE. Last year, the community, of course, had added that support for Windows container hosts. Now this feature has made it to GKE, only 6 months later. Windows on GKE is part of a commitment to provide a first-class experience for hosting and modernizing Windows server-based apps on Google Cloud. Running containers on Windows can help you save your money, as well as this beta release can run Windows and Linux containers side by side in the same cluster. The release also adds several other features for running your Windows Server containers, including private clusters, node auto upgrades, regional clusters, GMSA support, and LTS and semi-annual channel service channels for support.
Like, we're building Windows images now, and it takes like 2 hours to patch with all the reboots you need and everything else. 2 hours to patch a Windows machine from a base image. It's insane.
Even the most recent base
absolutely, and like you want to run a Windows VM, a decent size one, like with 64 cores or something. It costs you twice the price because of licensing costs for Windows than it does for the Linux VM. I think people will be better taking that money and spending their time porting their apps to a different platform.
But in the meantime, I don't know, running a container-based infrastructure is such a different paradigm from a server-based infrastructure. And if you're 90% Linux, 10% Windows, how great is it to be able to still be in that one paradigm for for all of your infrastructure, even if 10% of it is not as good as the other 90%.
But is it really that easy though? I mean, is it really that easy to drop a Windows app into a container and say, great, we're in containers now in the cloud? I haven't seen it with Windows. I've seen challenges with, because we're talking about Windows Core and we're missing lots of the UI components. We're missing lots of support for different fonts and things if you want to render documents. That's been one of our challenges at least. I don't know. I think the effort to move to containers with Windows is probably equal to the effort to move to a different platform anyway. That's just my opinion. Everyone's got
I
opinions.
haven't tried enough. Yeah.
I haven't done enough of it yet either. It's still too new.
Not to mention the containers are like 4 gig in size.
Yeah, I mean, there's that little issue. You require
Disk
so much
is free.
storage.
Yeah.
Disk is free. Doesn't matter.
Unless it's that ultra premium blob disk, then it's not so free. Right. Google is bringing 2020 Vision to your data pipelines with some new enhanced monitoring. So this is apparently some standards they've created around data flow observability features that will allow you to identify, diagnose, and remediate your pipelines faster than ever before. There's a quote here from Matuz Jurasek, software engineer at Ocado Technology. The killer feature of the page is the ability to see the throughput of each processing step. It's great that all the statistics are gathered in one place in the job metric page. Displaying data freshness and system latency enables us to quickly and preemptively detect anything that might affect reliability and then use other charts or logs to investigate and address what we discover. More features are coming to this observability platform in the next several months, including memory and disk usage charts, I/O metrics, such as response latencies, and pub/sub calls and visualizers that will significantly enhance the explainability of data flow jobs.
Well, it's cool. It looks very pretty. But I do have to point out that AppDynamics has been around for a very long time. And this is basically AppDynamics for data pipelines. It's nothing new. It's not revolutionary.
Yes, but it's not as expensive as AppDynamics.
It's not as expensive?
Not as expensive.
Wow.
All I know is it's obviously data pipeline week.
It is. A lot of data pipeline work.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's definitely, I've noticed this year, I say this year, I mean like the past 6 months, a definite shift from amazing new tech from Google to much more targeted kind of advertising of things that you can do at a corporate level. I think this is the influence of the Thomas Kurian sales technique. Because this isn't anything new. We could do this stuff before, but now it's somewhat native.
Well, I mean, all the vendors kind of do these tactics, right? I mean, how many announcements come from Amazon each week that are, this feature is now available in GovCloud or in 5 more regions. Like, there's so much stuff that these guys put out there in the market just to have their name in the press, because it keeps it front in mind of people. It's just the reality you deal with.
Yep.
And our final GCP story for tonight, you can now easily upgrade your Windows Server 2008 R2 instances, which went end of life at the beginning of the year, while migrating to the Google Cloud. This is a new feature to migrate for Computer Engine. It allows you to simultaneously migrate and replatform your Windows Server 2008 R2 systems into Windows Server 2012. So not only do you not get the most recent version of Windows, that one ends of life in like 3 more years. So it only gets you 3 years. Everything running on that original system will persist, but when the migration is done, it'll be running on a completely new OS. And this can be done with physical and virtual servers from on-prem and also with VMs currently running in AWS or Azure. Now, I mean, I could do this too with my, just moving applications, but that doesn't mean it's going to work. So I'm a little perplexed how they've worded this article, because Windows apps are not always the most easy to transport between versions. And as well, you still have to do regression testing and a bunch of other stuff. So do take this with a grain of salt. It's not a silver bullet to get you out of that security compliance issue that you're running Windows Server 2008.
Yeah, a little bit misleading, I feel like, knowing dirty details of what happens sometimes when upgrading those operating systems with third-party apps running on them.
Indeed.
And at least they can automate the test process. You give them a VM, they upgrade it. Does it continue to work? Yes, that's great. That's a good sign. It's not going to be a bunch of effort. So I guess it saves the effort in at least testing the upgrade path. But kind of wonder why Microsoft didn't come out with this first, right?
Yeah, really.
I mean, I think they do have some tools, and I think Microsoft or Google has some tools, or sorry, AWS has some tools as well. So there are similar stories like this out there, but yeah, Google's going to be there too.
I mean, the whole sales pitch, if you read through the article, like one of the last paragraphs is basically, well, you could use this or you could do it manually. So I'm pretty sure that what they're doing is just taking a copy of your VM, running through the automated upgrade process, and then just fingers crossed and hope it works.
Yep.
All right, well, that is it for new news this week. We are moving on to the new and improved lightning round. We'll see how it goes this week. We're trying it out. Peter, do you have anything to say about this new lightning round format, since this is technically your segment?
No.
All right, then.
Wow, that's wonderful.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited about the new format.
Excellent.
All right.
It's
Well,
many fewer opportunities for us to tweak with the titles of headlines and mess around this time.
Yes, indeed. And so, in the spirit of Weekend Update, we are bringing you the Weekend Update lightning round. So we will get to it here. AWS has gotten into the spirit of Carnival by reducing the amount of money that it will extract from you for Lent on R5 and i3 instances in the Sao Paulo region. Let's just hope that Andy Jassy doesn't start wearing Carnival costumes for reInvent announcements.
Convinced they'll stop the DOJ and the Orange Goblin from awarding Jedi to the dark side, AWS has announced DoD level 4 and 5 for 12 new services and 2 features on GovCloud.
Well, that's good, but Azure has announced a new log analytics table pane for logging schemas, which is a feature release really with a clean, modern look. But in this case, the beauty barely scratches the Microsoft Surface.
Microsoft has launched a new Azure VPN client. I can only imagine the conversation inside Microsoft went like this. What do you mean Amazon Web Services launched a VPN client last week? And it supports AD and OpenVPN? Dag nabbit, who leaked our roadmap? Ship it now, ship it now. I don't care it doesn't support Mac or Linux. Just ship it, ship it, ship it.
Azure SQL Databases has a new automatic tuning default setting for those who need custom performance settings but are super lazy.
And secrets from public APIs are so yesterday with the new Azure Key Vault private endpoints.
For those of you who love to explore the deep, dark archives of your backups, Azure now offers you Backup Explorer. Reminisce with all those files marked Don't Delete Ever that Bob the system admin put on the server in 1998, and no one knows what it does, but the legend of the time someone deleted it and all of Milwaukee lost power lives on forever.
Oops. For those of you leveraging EventBridge and realizing that it sends too much data, AWS is now giving you a lifeline with content filtering. You should check it out. Of course, the easier solution would just be to not send the data in the first place.
If there's ever a need for a 10x engineer, Amazon are making it personal, allowing you to bring more attributes to improve relevance. Too bad they still recommend me to buy things I bought years ago.
Amazon has added the ability to easily query the billing information of AMI images, giving you one more way to ignore the cost until the bill shows up at the end of the month. Jonathan, what do you mean the SQL Server cost me $46 an hour?
Oops. Amazon CloudWatch metrics for Amazon DynamoDB Accelerator, aka DAX, to give you more insights into DAX. This week's winner of the Redundancy Award.
Oh, I see why the Redundancy Award led into the next thing, which I completely changed now. Skynet can now follow the sun with AWS Ground Station, now delivering cross-region data to help them take over the world faster.
Cool.
AWS has delivered the last missing feature of CodeBuild, the ability to mount EFS volumes so you can now send ridiculous amounts of money to store and retrieve artifacts.
Ching. Oh, it's back to me again. Oh, what?
Yeah, it's actually...
Like, Peter always goes after Justin. What the hell? He totally changes around.
Did I change it? Sorry.
Just keeping us on our toes.
AWS Systems Manager run command now lets you rerun the same commands with a new pointless and click interface.
Pointless. Wow. Amazon VPC flow logs are now available in 1-minute aggregation intervals. Jonathan, apparently 1-minute intervals are contagious.
We got to let it go, Peter.
Amazon RDS for Oracle now supports FIPS 140-2 SSL. What did it support before? MD5? Do I have to pay Oracle another $20 million for this feature? Questions must be answered. And that is it for the lightning round. I don't know. That was a little harder than I thought it would be.
That's pretty fun. It was a good experiment.
It was fun.
That was, yeah. We can do something with it.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the listeners think.
See what the
Let us
listeners
know tweet us or tell us on the Slack channel if you like it or not, and we'll keep doing it for a couple weeks, see how it goes. Maybe we'll get a little easier as we get into the rhythm.
Yeah.
Of course, things are going on the next week or two. First of all, if you have not yet followed Ryan Lucas, and as of the recording today, he is up 5 followers.
Nice.
But the episode just dropped yesterday. So if you go out there and you follow Ryan on Twitter at Ryron01, and you DM me your address, I will send you CloudPod stickers and maybe a surprise. We'll see. But get that to me by the next time Ryan guest speaks. And you never know when Peter's going to disappear, or Jonathan or me, and Ryan's going to be here filling in. So you only have a limited time to get that tweet out to us that you have followed Ryan and gotten me the DM of your address, and we will get those in the mail ASAP. What about you guys? What's going on with you out there for next week or so?
Well, if you follow Ryan, I promise to match your contribution, and I will also follow Ryan.
Nice. Yeah.
Perfect.
For every person that follows Ryan, I will also follow Ryan.
Exactly. Next few weeks, I have no idea.
You guys are failing you.
I do.
Peter said you should have an answer for this, Jonathan. Every week he did. Yeah. How about Peter? Peter, do you have something going on next week you want to talk about?
I'm catching up from my vacation, from all the crap that piles up, and then I'm trying to get ahead because I've got in 3 weeks I'm going to Tulum, Mexico for a wedding. And so then I got to get caught up, and then I got to get ahead, and then I'm going to go on to the wedding, and then I'm going to fall behind, and then I'm going to catch up again. So that's me until pretty much the last week in March. That's my life.
Does that potentially mean that you're not going to be on the show that week? You're in Mexico?
Yeah,
Are you?
Maybe. Probably.
Well, see, listeners, get those likes and follows in, Jonathan.
Yeah, that might be
and
the
I
next
might be
Ryan.
That might be. You never know.
I was looking forward to mariachi music and everything.
Can't remember if I'm gone in the middle of the week or not, but you know what? Yeah, you should pretty much book Ryan right now.
So there you go. You have a couple more weeks to go, people. Get those follows in and those DMs out to me. Or if you're on our Slack channel, you can always just hit me up on Slack too. I'll take your address there as well. I'm not shy. All right. Well, that's it for this week in Cloud, guys. Have a great week.
Yep. See you next week.
See you next week, and remember to send us something if you want to do a well-architected review with Foghorn.
And that is the Week in Cloud. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Foghorn Consulting and Blue Medora. Check out our website, the home of the Cloud Pod, where you can join our newsletter, Slack team, send feedback, or ask questions at thecloudpod.net, or tweet us at #thecloudpod.